Provoking thought. Do you think that being extremely logical can actually put you out of touch with fucking reality? Because no one's saying be illogical, but let's think about this for a fucking second. Some people are so logical that they forget humans aren't fucking robots. We're walking contradictions with fucking Wi-Fi in our pockets. They're out here trying to apply math equations to emotions like, according to my calculations, I should not feel hurt. All right, Einstein, fucking tell that to your nervous system, my guy. Here's a perfect example.
When it comes to elite, peak masculine performance, when your life is on the line, or when it feels like your life is on the line, people become very superstitious. When you look at war times in the past, historically and cross-culturally, these people were incredibly superstitious. During battle, before battle, and after battle, they were invoking all kinds of spirits. They were praying to all types of gods. Incredibly superstitious beings tapping into something greater than themselves to achieve something greater than the conclusions of the mind, the often fearful conclusions of the mind. Now you might say, yeah, but they didn't know any better. And I would say to you, no, you don't know any better. Don't speak down on men who are clearly better than you. My soft, low testosterone, never had a fight in his life brother, never had his life on the line friend. They were way closer to the truth back then than we are today. Today, if World War III was a reality and we all without choice had to go out to war, you would see a whole bunch of superstitions come back. We will be invoking all types of spirits and praying to all types of gods to comfort ourselves, yes, but as I said, to also overcome the conclusions of our mind, the limitations of our own logic and rationality. The issue today, in these times of comfort and unprecedented peace, like in our modern societies, is that we have abandoned the spiritual. We have completely abandoned something that our psyches, that our minds has completely relied upon for hundreds of thousands of years. Our psyche wants to conceptualize the world in a spiritual way because it always has. Our psyches wants to believe in a God or a higher power because it always has. It is simply the way the machine wants to work. It is simply the way the supercomputer wants to operate. And not providing it with what it wants and what it needs to operate optimally can only be a bad thing, a limiting thing. Imagine having access to superpowers, powers that can regulate you, optimize you, and make you achieve the things you could not fathom, and simply choosing not to use it because of a logical conclusion. The same logical conclusion your superpower was created to supersede. Imagine if this superpower was exactly the same element that turned us humans from defenseless prey to the super predators of the world. Imagine if this ability to invoke the spirit of something greater is our superpower. Imagine if this element could explain the placebo effect, could explain how we managed to dominate the world with the same nervous system we share with mice. And imagine if this element could also explain exactly what women today are irresistibly compelled towards and attracted to.
Fellas, make sure you watch the entirety of this video. Obviously, this video is specifically for autistic people, but it's for everybody. It's simply to individuals who are enslaved by their own logic. The autistic man's superpower is his ability to create amazing logical systems, amazing pattern recognitions, right? He's able to focus on logic in such a way that is genius. But it's not genius if he's enslaved to the same logics he's able to focus on. That's the autistic man's issue. His brilliance is his logics, and his own downfall is also his logic. So in this video, please give me a chance to fully explain this. This is still the intro. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes. Remember, the overall goal of your intelligence is your ability to make true, accurate predictions of yourself, true accurate predictions of others, and true accurate predictions of your environment. When you're able to do all of these things, you can influence yourself, others, and your environment in any way you want to. This is what we call influence, and influence is power. Your intelligence should generate power. It should generate influence. And if it's not doing that, if you're not able to do these things to create the outcomes you want for yourself, then you're not using your intelligence correctly. Your intelligence is used as a prison to shackle yourself in, as a belief system, as a logical system, as a judgment system. And these judgments will always turn inwards against yourself, formulating the prison walls and the prison ceilings of your own life. That's not very intelligent. So in this video, let me teach you guys how to maximize your intelligence. But anyway, let's get into it.
In our modern times, we have completely abandoned the spiritual because we believe we have no need to be spiritual anymore. Everything appears to make sense and everything appears to be easy. We have abandoned the spiritual, aka elite performance, elite masculine performance, and we have replaced it with comfort. And we have abandoned our superstitions and we have replaced it with logic, which is funny to me because, as I said in my last video, our logics is still a form of superstition. We just don't reference God or the spiritual anymore. We reference science and data, cherry-picked science and cherry-picked data. Nobody has access to the objective truth. And we all continue to comfort ourselves with our superstitions. With our logics. Life appears to be easy now. And because of this, we are not performing at elite levels. Our life and death is no longer on the line. And because our life and death is no longer on the line, we have actually disconnected from our spiritual self, which is awful if you are a man. Because elite masculine performance really is a spiritual process. For example, the only way we really get to see elite masculine performance today is through sports. People who are performing at a very, very highest level. My favorite sport is football. And one thing I've always paid attention to is just how bloody spiritual and openly superstitious everybody performing at the highest level is. These individuals who perform at the highest of highest levels, these are incredibly superstitious people. You know, they have their lucky boxers, they have their lucky socks, they have these rituals that they practice every time before a match, during a match, and after a match. They have all of these spiritual, ritualistic elements to their game. Honestly, if you guys were speaking to these guys, you would think they are crazy. And before a match, before a very important match, you would think these guys are crazy. But you don't judge them because they are performing at a very high level. These men are preparing for war. And you don't judge them because you're about to go home and watch the TV. The reason why I'm saying all of this is because there are limits to your logic. There are limits to your rationality, and there are limits to your mind.
If you guys have followed me from the beginning, you know that I love to talk about mice. I have a very unique relationship with mice. When I was younger, not even that young to be fair, I was traumatized by mice. My house in London had mice, and then we moved to Kent. That house had mice as well. We weren't messy. It was just, I was cursed. Right, so a lot of my childhood, I had mice, and it was traumatizing me when I was a kid. Trust me, it used to traumatize me. I used to conceptualize mice like a demon, like an evil spirit. When you think about it, do you know what I mean? It kind of operates like a demonic spirit, you know. You can't see it, but it can see you. A sentient life form in your room that is watching you and ready to react based on what you do. As soon as I leave the room, the mice come out. As soon as I come into the room, the mice disappears. The mice are just, I'm in the kitchen, I don't know. The mice are just waiting like, nigga, get the fuck out of the kitchen so I can munch your food. Very, very scary things. When I go to sleep, it wants to come out. Very, very scary things. A brother is trying to fall asleep. Scratch, scratch, scratch on a wall. And you tell me that's not like a demonic presence. But anyway, I've got a very unique relationship with mice. And when I was growing up, my favorite book was John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. That was honestly, still to this day, is one of my favorite stories, both the book and the movie. So Of Mice and Men, my favorite book. And I love the fact that we do a lot of our testing on mice before we give things to human beings. A man's nervous system is so similar to a mouse's nervous system. That's why we do a lot of our testing on mice. The central nervous system and how it's set up is pretty much the same. We share 90% of the same genetics as mice. And at a certain stage in our evolution, we were a rodent-like creature. So I've always been fascinated with mice. And I've always been fascinated with the fact that our nervous system is set up for fear and set up for danger and set up for anxiety, just like a mouse. But somehow we dominated the world. Somehow we became the super predators of the world. Somehow we cleared the lands of all the apex predators that used to kill us on a daily, from the skies and on the land. Absolutely wiping the floor with us. Real apex predators with giant teeth and giant claws. Just massive monsters. You know, our dreams. You know, even when we think about what a monster is, you know, monsters are just simply a combination of the apex predators that used to lick off our ancestors. That's what a monster is, right? When we make the monster sounds on movie and TV shows, it's just a combination of apex predators, typically. Apex predators. And when we hear it, still to this day, our psyche shudders. Because we remember how these ancestors used to lick everybody off. What you guys need to understand is something happened within our evolution. Something happened. And what happened is ingrained in our psyche. It's ingrained in the woman's psyche. We did something to change the trajectory of our evolution, because we are a prey species. We still live in fear, live in anxiety. It's so ingrained in our nervous system because we're so used to scurrying to the corners when the lights come on. We're so used to not wanting to be vulnerable, not wanting to expose ourselves, that even in modern day society, we still live in fear. We still live in anxiety. How many people have social anxiety and anxiety disorders? What do you mean you're afraid to talk to your neighbor? What do you mean you're afraid for small talk with your Uber driver? What do you mean you're afraid to talk to a woman? What do you mean you're afraid to go to an interview? Doesn't make any sense, right? These are irrational fears. But to our nervous system, everything is operating as normal. We are creatures of fear and anxiety. We did something in the past to achieve the things that we achieved. And what I'm trying to communicate to you guys is your logical mind, your rationality, it's not logical and rational like you think. So many of you guys want to think that your logics and your rationality comes from a place of no emotion. And that's simply not true, because the entirety of your conscious mind is a fear simulator. It is a fear simulator. The logics and the rationalities you come up with are all rooted in fear. This is why I say that fear, on the grand scheme of things, when you're being impartial to your design, fear is irrational, because 90% of the things you fear never come into fruition. Fellas, think about everything you've ever feared. How many of these things did you actually experience in real life? Not 90% of those things. You experience all of these things in your fear simulator, in your mind, in your imagination. And then, as I always say, the 10% of the fear that came to fruition, these were self-fulfilling prophecies. You manifested this. You created this. And do you know how you created this? Because your mind is so bloody powerful. The things that you can achieve when you put your mind to it defies your understanding of the world, defies your own logic. So your logic is rooted in fear. What you guys need to understand is that masculinity, and how I teach you guys what masculinity is, I've said this to you so many times before. Masculinity is counterintuitive to our nature. We are cowards. We are like mice. It is normal to take steps away from danger. It is not normal to take steps towards danger. That's not normal. Masculinity is counterintuitive to our nature. And because of this, masculinity is of the spirit, fellas. Really deep what I'm saying. Look through historical things. Look through cultural practices. Look through religious practices. Cross-culturally, historically, men have always invoked the spirit of something else in order to achieve something very difficult. We've always invoked the spirit of apex predators. God's chariot in the Bible, I think it has a lion, a tiger, a snake, and an eagle. God's chariot has the 4 heads of apex predators. Really think what I'm saying. We have always invoked the spirit of bigger, more powerful things in order to get things done. Different spirits. This is the reason why certain religions, you pray to multiple gods. It's just a expansion upon the different spirits you would pray to, you would invoke the spirit of to achieve things that you can't fathom, to achieve things that you are limited by. The placebo effect is a great example of the limits to your logic. What do you mean if we take something believing to heal us, it will heal us? When I tell you, once your inner reality shifts, your actual reality will shift. Do you believe me? I told you guys, your logic is way more superstition than it will ever be objective truth. I would say, if your logic contains 10% of the objective truth, you should be very happy. Maybe you are a seer. Maybe you are a genius. Your logic is mostly superstition. Something to comfort you and give you a sense of direction and control. Something to structure your mind and help your ego direct you. Your logic is a tool of persuasion. I'll say that again. Your logic is a tool of persuasion. It persuades you and it persuades others. And this is why so many of you are enslaved by it. This is why so many of you are enslaved by the logic of others. Most of you cannot withstand that spell. Rage baiting followed by logic and you're hooked. Emotional triggering followed by logic and you're in handcuffs. Arousal followed by logic and you're ensnared. Logic is a tool for persuasion.
Stop killing your relationships with logic. It's not logic. It's persuasiveness. I get it, 'cause me too, man. I was like, here's my calm explanation of what I'm feeling or what we should do. So I'm the illogical one and you're being emotional and overly sensitive. Nope. I was being persuasive. And of course their emotions were getting high because I wasn't understanding them. Of course they were frustrated. I was becoming a great lawyer from my perspective. And you know who walks out of the courtroom hugging and cuddling? Not the opposing lawyers.
What is so interesting about this is that what she is saying applies to the relationship you have with yourself and others, especially women. Logic is a tool for negotiation, for persuasion. It's not a tool for growing in connection, romance, trust, love. It's not a tool for fun or play, unless you are using it for aspects of teasing, aspects of seduction and plausible deniability. It is actually quite an invasive, intrusive, anti-seductive thing. A man who is hyperlogical will nearly always have a poor relationship with himself. He is hard on himself, judges himself, condemns himself. So he suffers with shame, suffers with not feeling good enough, worthy enough. He almost always has a poor relationship with others because he projects the same logic onto them, onto the world. This is the reason why he is nihilistic, pessimistic. This is the reason why he's so negative. A man who is hyperlogical has to hide and mask these judgments from others in order for them to want to be around him, in order for them to think he likes them. not understanding that they can tell he is hiding and masking these logics and judgments. The human body never lies and actually has a desire to communicate the things you hide to others, to the herd, to the pack, and especially to the opposite sex. This happens through unconscious and subconscious behaviors. This is why you are socially awkward. This is why you don't perform properly around others. You are conflicted. Your logics and your rationalities thinks negatively of others, yet you have a desire for connection with them. You are divided. How can you resent something and also want to get close to them, also want to be intimate with them, also want to trust them? You can't, and that's why you don't. Unless you are a person who wants to exploit them. But you don't see yourself as a bad person. You see yourself as a good person. So you can't really do that either. You are stuck. You are conflicted and you are confused. This is why you have inhibition and apprehension. This is why you are insecure. All because of your logic. The logic you don't use as a tool. The logic that enslaves you and is always working to persuade you and persuade others. When you persuade yourself, you are practicing antisociality. You hide, you deny, you reject, and you suppress. When you persuade yourself, you stop yourself from putting yourself out there and doing the things you know you should be doing. When you are busy persuading yourself, you are persuading yourself to not participate in life. When you are persuading others, this comes across like you are seeking validation, seeking approval, seeking understanding, like you are not sure of yourself, so you desperately want others to be sure of you. Your logic, which is operated by your fear simulator, masquerading as objectivity, your logic that is influenced by a nervous system that is similar to a mouse, so it has a negativity bias, so it is always creating a negative evaluation of yourself, of others, and of the world. Logic that shapes your ego into something that is always protecting yourself from perceived threats and perceived dangers. Threats and dangers that aren't even real, fellas. So everybody just sees your defense mechanisms and coping mechanisms whilst you think you are successfully hiding them away. All because you are a man of logic and not a man of spirit. When you guys are failing because of this process that I speak of, some of you get close. Some of you get close to understanding how to escape it. And what you do is you fake it until you make it. But how rubbish is that compared to what a man of spirit does? How much of a crap use of intelligence is that compared to a man who invokes the spirit of what he wants to become? So you're faking something, implying that you're fake and implying that fakeness is what you need to succeed in life, whilst a man of spirit is communicating to the gods, communicating to Jesus Christ, and asking if he can be lent some of their power. One is faking it, the other is cooperation with the divine. Now you tell me, fellas, what is a better use of your intelligence? Now, fellas, it's not always a relationship with the divine. In my last video, I told you that I channeled the spirit of the Moroccan merchant to maximize my sales and to start this business, which I did. Trust me, fellas, the Moroccan merchants were nothing divine, but they were inspirational. And what I did is the same process that I'm speaking to you of. It's this ability to be so much more than your logic, to abandon your logic in order for you to be so much greater, in order for you to operate in the spirit, using your logic and using your rationale to work for you, to make accurate predictions about the best way to achieve an outcome. This is something that happens when you see your logic and your rationality and your conscious mind and your simulating mind as something that works for you, not something that you work for. All right. So it doesn't always have to be with the divine. It doesn't always have to be Jesus Christ. But I'm using that example to communicate to you guys just how different this process is to faking it till you make it. Faking it till you make it is
such a poor use of your intelligence, which implies characteristics and it implies things that especially your logical mind will suffer with.
How are we going to feel like a team if I'm treating you like my enemy? We're not. What made me totally, all my relationships shifted when I started doing this, the mirror game. Basically, as soon as I think they're tense, they think I'm tense, some kind of emotion is up, my immediate reaction is to become a lawyer for them instead of against them. To persuade myself to understand them, where they're coming from, to the point that they go, yes, you get it. That's how I feel. I help them figure out what they feel, what they want, where it's coming from, all of that. And then it's my turn. That makes us a team. Instead of setting us up that we're fighting to be understood, which is conflict, I fight to understand, which is connection. That's really what we want anyway. Don't win the fight to lose the relationship.
Fellas, this is a process that you need to be doing with yourself and with others, especially with women. You learn how to grow in connection and understanding with yourself. This is going to allow you to make the accurate predictions that you need to in this life. This is going to make everything within you in one accord. It's going to stop your conflicting, confused, counterintuitive, paradoxical beliefs, your cognitive dissonance, your conflicting beliefs, all the things that are conflicting within you that is making you stuck, that is creating inhibition, that is creating apprehension, that is creating insecurity. You need to have a better relationship with yourself. Being enslaved to your logic is not going to be able to do that, fellas. Your logic is everything empathy is against, almost. As I said, my last video, true empathy is the ability to put your thoughts, feelings, motivations, and fears to the side in order to fully lock in and understand the thoughts, feelings, motivations, and fears of another person, of a woman. Your thoughts, feelings, motivations, and fears, it all exists in your conscious mind, in your logic, in your belief systems, in your rationalities. Your thoughts, feelings, motivations, and fears, these are things you need to put into the bin. All right? And these are things that your logic operates in. You put these things into the bin and you learn how to penetrate the woman's mind. Before you penetrate the woman's body, it's required that you penetrate the woman's mind. You're only able to penetrate the woman's mind when you are not in your mind. You have to get out of your mind. Come out of you can't do this if you're enslaved by logic. Oh yeah, but things are supposed to be like this, or things are supposed to be like that. Or whatever logical systems that you have and you believe and you belong to, whatever beliefs that you have and you belong to, whatever judgments you're attached to and you don't want to let go of. You can't have those things and also penetrate the woman's mind. You're too busy penetrating your mind on some gating. Right? Too busy in love with yourself to free yourself up and learn how to love others. You're stuck. All right. So you have to learn how to do this with your own self. Formulate a good relationship with yourself. Be empathetic with your own self. Put your logics, your thoughts, your feelings, your rationalities, your fears in the bin. They're not important. You guys have such a degree of self-importance. You see yourself way too importantly. Put yourself to the side and learn how to fully have a proper relationship with yourself, really connect with yourself, really understand yourself. Get all of the fragmented pieces of who you are, sit them all around the table, like in the parliament. You're the speaker. Listen to every single voice within you and ensure everything within you is heard. And don't stop until you are able to make everything in you work off the same hymn sheet. Move every aspect of you in the right direction so you can be in one accord. You need to start making your thoughts, your feelings, your motivations, and your fears all work for you, all move in the same direction. These are all things that are working to protect you, but they all see things very differently. And if you are a poor speaker, if you are poor at organizing yourself, then all of these, they're going to be fighting against each other and then they're going to destroy each other. You need to make everything operating in the same way. Now, you do this behind closed doors. As I said, get out of your enslavement to your logic and you make your logic work for you. Use your logic to optimize yourself. Use your logic to optimize yourself and pull in the same direction. When you're able to do these things, as I said, you practice these things behind closed doors. When you're able to do these things, then you'll be able to do these for another person. You'll be able to abandon yourself and astral project into others, astral project into the woman. When you're dealing with women, it's very important that you're in her hubris. When you're dealing with a woman, she is so much more important than you. Her thoughts, feelings, motivations, and fears are 100% more important than your thoughts, feelings, motivations, and fears. It's just that simple. And do you know why? Do you know why? Because you are working towards an outcome. You're working towards an outcome. A scientist who wants to make accurate predictions, he doesn't allow his emotions to get involved with the outcomes and with the results. He doesn't have an attachment to the results. That's a poor scientist. A poor scientist has a attachment, has a bias to how he believes things should go. That's a poor scientist. A good scientist has no attachment, has no bias. He has a theory. He makes an accurate prediction. When the results come back in and he realizes that he's wrong, he's happy about that. You guys, when the results come back in and you realize that you're wrong, you're miserable about that. When you are surprised, it's over for you. You're triggered. You're offended. You're insecure. Your self-esteem is dropped. You want to run. You want to hide. When the scientist is surprised, he's excited. He's happy because he knows he's one step closer to an accurate prediction, to the outcome he wants. One step closer. When a woman says no to you, you're unhappy, you're insecure, you're triggered, you're surprised. When a woman says no to me, I'm excited because I know I'm one step closer to a yes. Because of my accurate predictions, because of my time spent, not giving a fuck about myself, giving a fuck about the people I'm with. I'm so much more concerned with accommodating others. When I'm by myself, I'm all about Andre. When I'm outside, I'm all about other people. I want to influence other people. I don't need to make myself feel better or prove some things to myself or prove some things to others. I'm regulated. I've done that already. So when I'm with other people, I accommodate them. I'm so much more concerned with them than I am myself. I'm not really thinking about myself. I'm thinking about other people. Why? Because I like to connect with people. I like it when people like me. I like it when people love me. I like it when people admire me. I like it when people respect me. I like to be able to influence people if I have to. So that's why I'm so much more about other people. When you're in a woman's hubris, you'll know exactly what to do. There's not that much logic involved. It's definitely not a rational process. So good luck using your logic and your rationalities on the woman. Good luck using those projections on the woman. It's not much logic or rationality when you're dealing with a woman. My work that I communicate to you guys, it may come across as logical. It may come across as rational, but I didn't experience it as logical or rational. I'm just explaining it to you guys in a logical way. It's very paradoxical. It's very counterintuitive. And I explain it to you in a way that you can understand so you can utilize it. But in order for you to utilize these things, as I keep saying, you have to be multidimensional. You need to be able to hold multiple truths at the same time. You're going to have to learn how to invoke the spirit of certain things. I tell you about the Beauty and the Beast archetype. You need to learn how to invoke the spirit of the beast. If you can't invoke the spirit of the beast, then you have some issues. You're still enslaved by your logic. You're still enslaved by your civilized side. You're still enslaved by your rational side. You're too civilized. You're hardly an animal. You're disconnected from the self. I told you, the animal that is the human being, it's a mixture of logic, rationality, and spirit. You guys contact a tribe, one of them tribes and the uncounted tribes, the ones with the bow and arrows. You go try and get close to them and speak to them. These fellas will kill you. With that bow and arrow, they feel like they can destroy you, brother, honestly. You come with your guns, they don't care. You can pull it over a tank. They're going to shoot that bow and arrow at that tank. Now, do you think it's because that they're silly? Nah, they're kind of fearless. They're driven by spirit. All that stuff on them, it's enchanted. It's enchanted. These guys are practicing things that make them so much more braver than you. So much more braver than you. Right, but you want to balance, right? You don't want to be superstitious to a degree to where you're a bit silly. You know, where you look into the mirror and you scream. You don't want to be superstitious to that type of a degree. But there's areas of... You make these things work for you. Make your superstitions work for you. All right? So, for example, when I have a run of luck, I don't think, oh, Yeah, I'm just lucky today. No, I think that the stars are aligning in my favor. I will look up to the sky. I'll point at the sky. I'll make the sign of the cross. And I'll be incredibly happy. My psyche likes that. My psyche likes that. I don't just make money, look after my kids and reach my goals and try to and provide and protect for the people I love. No. That's my higher calling. This is what I've been born to do on this earth. I'm not somebody who has to earn value. No. I was born with inherent value. God has put me on this planet to achieve great things. God has given me this wisdom because I've been blessed by Uriel. And my higher purpose, my higher calling is to spread this wisdom onto as many people I can before I die. That's the sense of belonging I have. Compare that to a nihilist. Compare that to an atheist. How does this person think of themselves? How does this person think of themselves? What level of vitality and grandiosity does this person have? How many people have this person smashed? How many people are in love with this person? How many women orbits that guy? That guy who looks at the world in an absurd way, in a nihilistic way. Nothing has meaning and purpose in this life. Wow. How dysregulated will that man be? Nothing has meaning and purpose. Woo! Dysregulated psychology, dysregulated physiology, low levels of testosterone, moral regulation in the bin because this guy doesn't really believe that he has a duty by God. He doesn't see himself as a soldier sent by the Lord to go and accomplish great things. I make my psyche work for me. I told you guys in my last video, really smart people and really dumb people have similar outcomes. Really smart people are blessed genetically, kind of, and they're able to rationalize and use their logic in crazy ways. They have a better use of their intelligence. And most of the times, really, really smart people, high IQ, high EQ, they're able to achieve certain outcomes. Right? But 9 times out of 10, they have a little bit, first of all, they understand that their logic is superstition. Right, they understand about the things that they don't know. And they understand that the bulk of their intelligence is to actually cultivate the life that you want for yourself, actually make accurate predictions and have an outcome. The people at the bottom, they're so superstitious that they somehow manage to actually get the outcomes that they want. Because as I said, your logic isn't all that. Your logic isn't all that. There are many people who can run their life off superstitions, the right superstitions, who are going to maximize life and have crazy, enjoyable lives, right? And then everybody in the middle is stuck. They're not smart enough or self-aware enough to create the outcomes that they want for themselves. And they're not dumb enough to lean into the right superstitions so they can create the outcomes that they want for themselves. What I do and what I try to teach you guys is to be optimal. I want you guys to be high IQ, high EQ, and to lean into the right superstitions and to invoke the right the right spirits. I want you guys to have the best of both so you can truly influence yourself, influence the world, and influence the woman exactly how you would like to. Away from your emotions, away from how you think things should be. To not be emotionally attached. A true masculine man is independent from all of those things. He is only focused on creating the outcomes that he wants for himself and for his family and for his people. Remember, fellas, the masculine is always positive. The masculine has a positive evaluation of the world. In order for you to achieve your goals and overcome hurdles and continue to slay dragons, you need to have a big ego. This ego needs to be regulated, it needs to be flexible, and it needs to be an ego that's not been calibrated to defend itself. It needs to be an ego that's been calibrated to achieve things, an ego that allows you to wear your heart on your sleeve, not an ego that is obsessed with protecting your heart. That's what women do, and when the woman can see that in you, that's what she's unattracted to. You need your positivity in order for you to achieve all of your outcomes, in order to free your mind from the prey mind, from the mouse. You need your positivity in order for you to make accurate predictions in your life. The masculine is always the most positive guy in the room. Not fake positivity. Not excessive optimism. No, he just literally makes positive evaluations of the world and of others. The masculine likes his enemy. Why? Because he gets the best out of him. He likes to have his rival. Because he gets the best out of him. The masculine likes it when his woman is testing him. Why? Because it gets the best out of him. He understands that the woman is a mirror and is only ensuring his excellence. The masculine likes the dragons because, when I slay this dragon, Jesus, I'm going to be renewed with greater character, greater joy, greater competency, greater perspective of life. The masculine can always find a positive solution. Anyone who's enslaved to their logic will always find a negative solution with that fear simulator. You can either use your simulator and your imagination to manifest positive things or negative things. Fellas, I hope this helps. I could have talked about so many things. I deleted so many things, but I thought I would rest on this. Ensure that you watch part 1 as well. I love you guys so much. I hope this helps you guys. I know it's a bit deep, it's a bit advanced, but my stuff isn't basic. If you want something basic, you're gonna have to go somewhere else. This is very advanced. There's a degree of work that you need to be able to do to yourself in order to comprehend the things that I'm talking about. There's a degree of work that you need to be. Most of you guys, I know most of you guys are quite advanced, but I have a few of you that are quite basic. You need to go elsewhere. You need to find a sensei at a lower level, and you need to train yourself up. You got to train yourself up, all right, for you to be able to understand these things. There's work that needs to be done, but if you guys don't understand something, don't just call my stuff nonsense, right? It's a sign of low intelligence. You don't understand something, so it must be nonsense. That's a sign of low intelligence, right? If you don't understand something, try to figure out a way to try to figure out questions you can ask. And if you want to ask me questions, try to figure out how to talk to a man who is not your daddy, a man who doesn't care about you, right? So I'm not your dad. So if I feel like you're asking me something and it's quite rude, I'm just going to block you. So try to figure out how to talk to me. Okay? I want to get this very straight with you guys. I only like you guys who support me. It's just that simple. If you guys actually support me, I will like you. You're strangers to me. So when my introduction to you guys is that you support me, you love my work, I'm going to like you. I'm going to care about you. But when your introduction to me is some type of rudeness, some type of saying what my art is, my work is nonsense, is crap, this isn't true, I'm not going to bloody like you at all. I don't have any time for you. I'm not your dad. All right, but when you show me that you understand my work, when game recognizes game, I see you as my brother. That's how this thing works. I don't reference anything. I don't put any studies out there because truth recognizes truth. Truth recognizes truth. It's just that simple, right? And when my truth resonates with you guys, I understand that we have something here. I'm not gonna convince you guys that the truth don't recognize, because you guys you don't have that Holy Spirit in it. You just don't have that truth in you. If anything, you're lucky that you're still here. I want my work to speak to people who are spiritually similar to me. And this is all races. In my entire life, I've always known that this is all races. I've had many brothers from different races, different ages. There's no demographic that I'm spiritually aligned with and not spiritually aligned with. All right? So it's just that simple. Before I go, I want to just leave you with this one thing. I spoke about it earlier, and I'm going to finish it off with this. Your mind hates conceptualizing everything scientifically and logically. The occult has won, and this is what the church was fighting against. The church wasn't really good either. They was instilling us with shame. If anything, you can say that the church was run by the devil. But it was right in trying to go against the occult, go against the sciences. Your psyche hates conceptualizing things scientifically and logically. It's never done it before. It's only been doing it for the past 100 years. And most of your parents didn't even do it. Most of you are the first people that conceptualize everything logically and scientifically. Your psyche hates that. Your psyche likes to conceptualize things spiritually. It likes to conceptualize things spiritually. It likes to believe that there is a God that we are subservient to, and everything kind of works its way from there. It wants to submit to a God, not to anything on earth. It wants to submit to a higher power, and it wants to believe that it's got a sense of belonging and it's got a higher purpose on this world. Right? When things go right, it wants to believe that the stars are aligning in its favor. When things go wrong, it wants to believe, Jesus Christ, the devil is around here. We need to grow in righteousness. We have to avoid the devil. There's obviously a lack of godliness in this environment. Let's make some changes. That's how the brain wants to conceptualize things. If you guys can go into the past, I love medieval history so much. I spend so much time looking into medieval history. And what's so funny about that is, if you guys were a time traveler and you guys were to go back into the past, you wouldn't understand anything anybody is saying. You would think everybody is mad and crazy, because no one's conceptualizing things logically. Everyone's conceptualizing things through spirit, through superstition. That's how everyone was living their life. Right, so if you guys miss the past and miss aspects of the past, then that's actually what you missed. That was the world that was created. All right, so today you want to have a balance. It's a yin and a yang. All right, it's a balance of logic, rationality, the spirit, and superstition. You make all of these things work for you. You don't serve any elements of these things. You make all of these things work for you. All of these things work for you. I told you guys, I was religious up until the age of... Well, I've never been religious, but I believe I was Christian up until the age of 19, and then became an atheist at the age of 19 for about 10 years, a decade. And about 3 or 4 years ago, I came back to Christianity. Before I fully came back to Christianity, I was just acting as a Christian, because I already came to this realization that my psyche actually... I had so much more grandiosity, so much vitality, so much luck, and I was able to change my reality in such a crazy way when I was conceptualizing everything spiritually. I lost all of those abilities when I was conceptualizing everything logically and scientifically. I lost all of those abilities. So I had to have this metacognitive experience, to where I was like, wait, hold on. So if your predictions are more accurate, your outcomes are better, your life is better, you're more attractive, you're more abundant, you're more everything when you're spiritual, why the fuck are you an atheist then? Who cares about your logics? Who cares about what makes sense? To be fair, who's to say that I'm the ultimate arbiter of the truth? Who's to say that I am fully making sense? Who's to say that I am closer to the truth as an atheist? I felt like I was more closer to the truth when I was spiritual. So I began just acting as a Christian. I began reading the Bible again. And then I just thought to myself, how silly is this? How am I acting as a Christian? You are a Christian. You're so lucky to be born Christian, to have Christian ideals. You live in the West. Look what the West has done to the world. Look at the things Christian ideals has built. You're a Christian. Why are you pretending to be a Christian? And then when I did that, I went straight back to literally praying to the God in the sky, waking up in the morning, saying my thingy, speaking to God, telling God my issues, telling God my plans, having a proper confidence with God. The man in the sky, yeah, 100%. Why not? That's my psyche wants it. I perform optimally like that. It's like, like an RPG game. The religious zealots in an RPG game, right? And it's like in RPG games, like the faith factions, the ones who really believe in God and they're given powers, right? And it's like with these guys, there are magical artifacts in the game, and we know they're real magical artifacts, because if a vampire was to pick it up, his arm will fall off. But in these games, there's also, if you give these guys just a normal sword and you tell these guys that it's been blessed and sanctified in the blood of Jesus Christ, it still operates as a magical artifact. Now, maybe if the vampire picks it up, his arm won't fall off because it's not actually a magical artifact. But once this chaplain picks up this sword, does an enchantment, does the sequences his mind wants to believe, he's able to clear out a whole horde of people, because he truly believes it's a magical artifact, right? Just like the footballer who can't perform well without his lucky boxers, without his lucky socks. We need to understand, we need to make our psyches work for us, because our psyches aren't perfect. We're very limited as human beings. We don't have echolocation. We don't have the brain processing speeds of an ape, right? We don't have all of the things. If you look into other animals and you see the things that they can do, we can't do those things. we're very limited. Our eyesight is crap compared to a lot of other animals. We can't do the things so many other animals can do. So we're not these perfect human beings. We're quite limited by our design. So what you do in this life is you make your design work for you. That's what intelligence is. That's what true intelligence is. Anything other than that, you guys who use your intelligence so you could justify things and have a false sense of superiority, brother, that's not intelligence. That's not intelligence. Guys, I hope you like this video. I put a lot of thought into this video. This is my love to you guys. Thank you so much for showing me love. Please continue to show me love. Please continue to support the page. You've seen how much I've been growing recently. Thank you so much. This is the relationship we have with each other. You guys inspire me. And you guys, honestly, you guys actually inspire me a lot. Sometimes I feel low. Sometimes I feel like my videos aren't good. Sometimes I can have a negativity bias. I can get 2 comments in a sea of good comments. And these comments are playing on my mind because this is my work. This is my art. It's my work. It's my art. Do you know what I mean? You know, like imagine you spend time drawing a picture, you put it out there and some people say it's shit. It's really just what I'm trying to say. So you guys really inspire me. You keep me going. I told you guys, when I blow, when I make it rich, I know exactly who you guys are who are keeping me going. Trust me. Trust me, I've got some stuff for you. Got some stuff for you. Trust me. Thank you so much. You guys, look how much I've been growing recently. I appreciate it. You know my content is niche as well. So it's your support. It's your views. It's your comments. It's the energy that you guys are giving to me. Thank you guys so much, honestly. You know, Patreon coming out soon. I'll see you on the next one.